Trey Michael Luke 488060 DOC number.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Luke. And we're here for a revocation decision today. And you should have a parole revocation questionnaire. Do you have that document there with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that your signature at the bottom of that page dated February 2nd?
Yes, ma'am.
And based on the information you provided, you were not eligible for appointed counsel. Is that your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll read the allegations against you, after which I'll ask you to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. And then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Roche. He'll be asking you some questions about your plea.
Yes, ma'am.
If you'd like to make a statement at the end, we'll allow you to do so before we go.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Luke, you're accused of violating the conditions of your parole, specifically condition number 4, which states you were arrested on August 10, 2021 by the Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office for domestic abuse battery first, which is a misdemeanor, and a warrant for failure to appear in court due to a traffic violation, driving under suspension. On February 25th, 2022, you pled guilty to the reduced charge of simple battery and received 6 months parish jail with credit for time served. How do you plead to violating condition number 4?
Guilty. Yes, ma'am.
I assume you're going to make a statement. So can we say guilty with a statement?
Yes, ma'am.
And then condition number 10, you are currently $90 in arrearage on your supervision fees. How do you plead to violating condition number 10?
Guilty also, and with a statement.
Okay. Would you answer Mr. Roche's questions, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Luke.
Good morning, sir.
What does everyone call you? Trey?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
May I call you Trey?
Yes, sir.
Trey. Let's keep it. You pled guilty to condition number 4. Would you like to give a statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can do that right now.
That was on the simple battery, sir. The
Yes, it
condition.
was. Yes,
Okay.
it was.
I accept what I've done. That's why I pled guilty, and it was my mistake, sir. It was my mistake, and I just tried to do better. I'll.
Now, Mr. Trey,
Yes, sir.
the outside of Amy's door, trying to get in to talk to her. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you went into a back window?
Yes,
Is
sir.
that
Yeah, that's it. When the door is locked, we don't have no key. That's how I would get in. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It was the house I was living in.
You had opportunity to leave the premises the first time the police came out.
Yes, sir.
When they talked to you and Amy, and
Yes,
you
sir.
agreed to belongings and leave.
Yes, sir.
Amy told the police it wasn't necessary to stay, that you would leave.
Yes, sir.
But 51 minutes later, and of course, the first time Amy said that it didn't get physical
Yes, sir.
because she didn't want you to get arrested.
Yes, sir.
But 51 minutes later, Amy had to call the Terrebonne police again, and they came out, and you were at the front door screaming at Amy.
Yes, sir.
And then Amy reported to the police that you choked her, you had her on the ground in the house, and you had your knee in her chest. Is that correct?
No, sir. When I grabbed her, it wasn't no choking or anything like that. It wasn't choking, but I did grab her. I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all. I did grab her. but I didn't choke her. You know, she was screaming and hollering. We were screaming and hollering.
And you grabbed her where?
Huh? On the neck. I'm not gonna lie. You know.
So when you grab a neck,
Yes, sir.
that's a very delicate area. And the least pressure, someone feels like they're being choked.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Why would you put your knee in her chest?
I when I like we was by the sofa and we kind of fell. You know what I mean? We was by the sofa, like, cause she was hollering, we was hollering at each other and everything. And you know,
Mr. Luke, Mr.
yes,
Luke,
sir.
did your knee end up in her chest?
No, sir.
But you did
I
fall
really,
on.
yeah, like we fell down, yeah. And then I got up, like right after I got up, and I'm like, I said, this is not worth it. And that's when I walked outside. I said, it's not worth it. And that's when I walked outside. Yes, sir.
And so, do you realize that if you would have left the premises when the police told you,
Yes, sir.
how long have you been incarcerated now?
8 months.
Simply because you didn't leave when you were instructed to, you've been incarcerated 8 months.
Yes, sir.
And you pled to a violent misdemeanor, simple battery,
Yes, sir.
but you said you didn't do anything.
Oh no, I
No.
did. No, I accept what I've done. Yes, sir. I accept the altercation. That's why I pled guilty. Yeah, I'm not saying I did. I'm not innocent.
How
Yes,
long,
sir.
how long were you in a relationship with Amy?
7 months.
7 months.
Yes,
And
sir.
how many situations have you and Amy been in like this in 7 months?
That was the first one.
So this is the first time you had a verbal or physical altercation.
Oh, we had verbal, but this is the first one. You know what I'm saying, that the cops got involved. You know what I'm saying, or anything like that. That was the very first one.
So this is the first time she called the police.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was because of my doing. It was because of my doings. You know, I lost my job. You know, and I kind of fell back on the drugs, sir. I'm not gonna sit here and even lie to y'all. You know, I kind of fell back on the drugs.
Drugs and alcohol, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My biggest
And
problem my
how
whole
long
life.
had, how long had you been on supervision when you started using drugs and alcohol?
It was I was let me see, 5 months. We had got together. It was like a month, 2 months. It was like a month. I had lost my job, and then I started using when I lost my job, and that's when me and her problems came about. You know,
During supervision, did you attend an AA meeting?
I was whenever not because I wasn't doing it. Yeah,
So
because I was
that's a yes or no.
no, sir. No, sir.
You
I
think
should have.
did you have a drug problem?
Right now,
No,
no, sir.
did you have a drug problem?
Oh yeah. At the time for that month and a half, yes, sir. I OD, I died, I flatlined on heroin, yes, sir. I needed the help, you know, and I didn't get it at that time.
And whose fault is that?
My fault.
And then you get on drugs and alcohol again, and then you started using your girlfriend.
Yes, sir. That's basically, you know, it wasn't that abusing. It was just we got into the altercation. When we got into the altercation, I should have left, and I didn't leave, sir. You know, and you know that was my fault.
Since you've been arrested and been incarcerated for the last 8 months, have you received any help with your drug and alcohol issues?
Well, no, sir, we didn't have it because of the storm. We had got shipped, but there was drugs and everything around me at the place where I was. I didn't use. I'm clean, you know, and the place where we was, they didn't have no programs or anything. And we just got back to Terrebonne Parish, And, you know, I've been clean and trying to put my best foot forward.
How long do you have left on your supervision?
I have all the way until 2033.
So you got 12 years left on your supervision.
Yes, sir.
Are you a drug addict?
Right now, no, sir. I was, though, but not anymore.
No, sir. I have my answer. Thank you so much, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. O'Shea. Ms. Jackson has some questions. Mr. Trey, when were you released on parole?
November 9th of 2020.
All right. And when did you get arrested?
It was August 10th of 2021.
So you had been out less than a year.
Yes, sir. It was like right at 10 months.
All
It was
right.
like right at 10 months.
And you did not follow through on any substance abuse treatment when you were released. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And tell us again why you didn't follow up with substance abuse treatment.
At first, when I got home, miss, I went straight offshore a week later.
Why would you go straight offshore instead of, first of all, did you connect with your parole officer?
Yes, ma'am. I contacted him. He came to the house. He asked me if I had any problems, if I think I can handle it. I said, yes, sir. I think I got it. I have a job. Everything was okay. I was doing good for like 5-6 months. And well, when I lost my job, when I started back, you know what I'm saying, using drugs again, that's when I lost my job, and that's when all the problems.
Why did you start back using drugs again?
I lost my job, and
Said that you started using drugs. That's when you lost your job.
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you go back to using? How long did you serve before you got out of prison, Mr.
I did.
Trey? How long?
I did 7 years.
So after 7 years of prison, you almost, within 6 months, are back to using drugs.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't think you're a drug addict or an alcoholic?
Yes, ma'am, I am. That's why I was saying earlier, I do need the help.
But what you told Mr. Roche is, no, you're not an alcoholic, not now.
Well,
You're not a drug addict right now. You overdosed on heroin.
Yes, ma'am.
What
That's
do you think drug addict is?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's
Mr. Luke, let me ask you this. You were given this opportunity. You served 7 years. You were released on parole. You should have known that you had a substance abuse issue. You should have addressed that. But instead of doing that, you jumped in a job to go offshore.
Yes, ma'am.
You got back into using drugs. Your drug use led to this altercation with this young lady. And
Yes,
here
ma'am.
you are.
Yes, ma'am.
So why do you think your parole should not be revoked?
Because I want to, I want to try to be a solution to the problem and not the problem anymore. You know, I spoke with a woman that was going to accept me into rehab, and she said my biggest problem was going offshore.
What rehab were you accepted into?
It's on Bull Run Road. What's the name of it? It's off of Bull Run Road. It's in Shreveport, Louisiana. I spoke with the woman, and it's Miss Maria. It's the Bridge House, the assistant Bridge House, the woman that I spoke to, and she's like, your biggest problem was going straight offshore, and I was like, yes, ma'am, you know, and I talked to her like 4 months ago, before all this.
Well, do they even have a bed for you at Bridge House?
Yes, ma'am.
That was 4 months ago. Do you even know if there's a space available for you now?
I could find out as soon as possible. I could get in contact with Miss Maria again and try to line everything up again. Because I really want it. That's what I want. That's,
That's certainly what you need.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I need. Yes, ma'am.
I just don't understand why you didn't realize that when you got out, that that's what you needed.
Stupidity, my own stupidity, miss.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank
For
you.
me, I just have a couple questions, Mr. Luke.
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you lose your job?
Because of drugs. Failed piss
Now,
test.
specific, were you drug tested on the job? Were you caught using them on the job? What?
No, I went offshore. I went offshore for 45 days. When I came back in, kind of had too much money, spent some money, and when I went to go back offshore, they drug test everybody every time you go back offshore. Like every time you fly in and go back out, you get drug tested.
You knew that when you went to
Yes.
when you started
Yes.
back, that was a consequence.
Yes,
And so
ma'am.
why did you do a 45-day stint? Wasn't your regular schedule 7 and 7?
It was 14 and 7. Yes, ma'am.
14 and 7. Why'd you do 45?
It was Anadarko. It was they had that oil spill. It's the second to biggest thing that was for BP. I was on the Horn Mountain for Anadarko, and I had to stay out there until we took the pipeline out and finished it and put it back together so they could bring the rig back on.
I understand. So they asked you to. It wasn't that you volunteered to keep staying and staying and staying.
Yes, ma'am. They wanted me to stay.
So what is your current relationship with Amy?
Friends, friends, and we still talk, and she wants me to get the help,
Do you consider her your girlfriend?
Huh?
Do you consider her your girlfriend?
Right now, we're friends. But
Okay.
yeah, we was boyfriend and girlfriend. We had talked for a while.
Right now, I'm just saying right now, what is your relationship? Just
We're
friends?
Yes, ma'am,
Okay.
we're friends.
Okay. I failed to acknowledge that we do have some guests who I guess you can see who have joined us, and let me just say who they are, and then we'll ask your mom to speak. We have
Okay.
your sister, Reba Albert, and Mariah Parfait, your niece. We
Yes,
also have Miss Juanita Boudreau, your stepmother, and
ma'am.
there with her is also your mom at Trey, and both of those, mom and stepmom, want to speak. So first, let me ask Miss Juanita Boudreau. We'd like to hear from you now. Miss Juanita, you'll have to unmute your microphone. There you go.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yes, I'm Juanita Boudreau, Trey's stepmom. I like to say on behalf of Trey, he has every intention, of doing what's right. And he did go offshore, being that it was brand new. He was brand new at home. And do like here, it's it's bad with some young kids here. And with him having his son, he went offshore right away to make money to help, with his son and to get back on his feet with clothes, this and that. And in a way, by him trying to do what was best, good, it harmed him when he did come back home. But that was his reason to go offshore, to make money, to help support his son and get back on his feet. But like I said, when he came home, it did harm him. And you give him a chance, he can make it. He's got enough, of us to push him. He learned from this mistake here, and he got good intentions to do what's right, to do for his son, and I believe he can do it. He's strong-minded. He put his mind to do it. He can get away from this drug. And I myself was talking to Miss Maria to get him into this rehab. And at the time, she did accept him and she had a place for him. So I'm sure, you know, I can contact her again, me and Trey, and we can get the help he needs.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Boudreaux. Is Ms. Tragle there with you?
Yes, ma'am. Here she
Can we
is.
hear from her now? Thank you.
Hi,
Good morning.
good morning. I just want to say, I mean, I'm in hopes that my son will get out. And the reason why he went offshore so fast is because I told him he lives with me. He first lived with me and I told him he had to have a job before he could move in. And I'm the one that pushed for him to go to work because I wanted him to be away from the friends and the drugs. And my thing is, I'm in hopes and praying that if y'all allow him to get out, he will be living with me. And my thing is, he has a 9-year-old son that he needs to be part of his life. And I get his 9-year-old son when when he was incarcerated. And I'm hoping that he could get out and straighten up his life and he could be part of his child's life and get the help he needs. And that's what I'm in hopes of.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We
you.
appreciate both of you,
Yes, ma'am.
both of your remarks, and we appreciate Ms. Albert and Ms. Marfay joining us also.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Trey, is there something you'd like to say to us before we vote?
Oh, I want the help, and if released, I'm gonna go through the rehab, I'm gonna go through it. And like my mom said, I've been out of my son's life. My son's about to be 10 years old, and I only got 4 months out of his life that I've been around him, and I want to do right. I try. That's all I gotta say, I want the help.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we'll be voting, Mr. Roche.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Trey,
Yes, sir.
every situation in life should be a learning experience. This learning experience is don't touch a female for any reason.
Yes, sir.
This society is so angry with each other. Domestic abuse is running rampant.
Yes, sir. I know.
Do not be a part of that.
Yes, sir.
You're a young man. How old are you, Trey?
About to be 38 in a couple of months, a couple of days.
You're a young man.
Yes, sir.
You still have an opportunity to lead a productive life. Get a good job, get a good retirement plan, and reach the age of 65 or so and retire and enjoy life.
Yes, sir.
But you need help. You're a drug addict.
Yes, sir.
And I don't think your 7 years of incarceration, we helped you with that problem. Today, I'm going to offer you some help.
Yes, sir.
That's up to you whether or not you take full advantage of that help.
Yes, sir.
In lieu of revocation, I want you to complete the 9-month Steve Hall Intensive Substance Abuse Program.
Okay.
This is the best program that the state of Louisiana has to offer.
Yes, sir.
I think the program is at Bayou Ocean now, and you'll be transported to that facility. You'll be enrolled in a 9-month program, an intensive program that covers anger management, victim awareness, substance abuse. It covers everything. At the end of the 9-month program, if you complete it successfully, you will be released. After release, I want you to attend at least 3 NA AA meetings a week. Please take a front row, take all the information in, and follow all recommendations of that program once you release. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jackson. All right, likewise, Trey, I do think your main problem is your substance abuse issues. And you've indicated a desire for treatment. I do agree with Mr. Roche that the Steve Hoyle program would be an excellent program for you to participate in. Will certainly give you the tools that you need. So my vote today is also in lieu of revocation to complete the 9-month Stephen Hoyle program and with the special conditions of 3 AA for the duration of your supervision. All right, and I do agree, you've asked for the help and we have an opportunity to provide you that help. So you don't have to worry about the bridge house or whatever. We're gonna do that. And that way we know you're gonna get it. So my vote also is in lieu of revocation that you complete the Steve Hall program, and then after release, you'll have a meeting. All right,
Yes, ma'am.
take advantage, take full advantage of the opportunity. Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and I think we still have another case at Terrebonne. Alfonso Mendoza.
Man, you know, they really tried their best to help him. Imagine spending all those years in prison, getting out, and within 6 months, getting locked back up, and really in ways that it's just, I mean, and then he pled guilty, served more time in jail, and as we've seen, that's not often, it's always a mistake to plead guilty because it automatically would revoke you because you have to, as part of your contract, not be involved in any criminal activity whatsoever. Yeah, we have oftentimes seen attorneys still recommend, and wrongly recommend, their clients to just plead guilty to a lesser charge. Now, and we'll go over some of the information of parole revocation after this, but it's just, I guess here's what I have to share with you. They gave him a blessing. They gave him a gift, and he failed it because he's still locked up. Richard has pointed out that he is still locked up, so he had to fail Steve Hoyle. And, you know, Steve Hoyle is just a 9-month program, and this hearing took place 2 years ago. He's got a full term date. He's got another 9 years to serve, 2033. I mean, how you serve all this time, you get out, you blow it, and he's out working offshore. They make good money offshore, so he had that as the opportunity. He blows it, then he's given another gift after, you know, it could easily have just not. They give him another gift, and he blows it again. And, you know, addiction is a terrible thing. One can, you know, there could be different reasons for failing Steve Hoyle, but it's not difficult to pass it. You just gotta follow the rules, and one can only assume that. Now, oftentimes they have hearings when you flunk Steve Hoyle. We have seen that, and it's like a continuation of the revocation hearing. I don't know why we haven't seen it. Maybe he didn't want to do it. But let's just go over some of this. You know, before we do that, what Mr. Roche said, what did he say? We always learn a lesson in life. And what was it? Keep your hands off of women. I mean, Roche has those. I know I probably butchered it, but he has those kind of like, I love when he says that. So what's interesting about going through this legislation is that I'm pretty sure we have seen clear violations of this legislation. We have seen people waiting for revocation hearings for over a year. After an arrest pursuant to Article 899, the court shall cause the defendant who continues to be held in custody to be brought before it within 30 days for a hearing. And how often, I mean, come on, so many times, it's way more than 30 days. If a summons is issued pursuant to Article 899, or if the defendant has been admitted to bail, the court shall set the matter for violation hearing within a reasonable time. And I suppose here's the problem when you use words reasonable. Right? How do you define that vague word? The hearing may be informal or summary. The defendant may choose, with the court's consent, to appear at the violation hearing and stipulate the revocation by simultaneous audio-visual transmission in accordance with provisions of Article 562, and the court decides the defendant has violated or was about to violate a condition in his probation, if any. This is strange to me. Or was about to violate? How can you, what does that even mean? How can you be about to violate? Isn't that, that's odd to me. Okay. Reprimand and warn the defendant, order that supervision be intensified, add additional conditions to the probation, order the defendant as an additional condition of probation to be committed to a community rehabilitation center operated by or under the contract with Department of Public Safety and Corrections for a period of time not to exceed 6 months without benefit of parole or good time. That's interesting. Because I always thought that the Steve Hoyle program was 9 months. There is if there's a bed available, the offender has been sentenced to the Department of Sentence has been suspended pursuant to 893. Such commitments does not extend the period of probation beyond the maximum period of probation provided by law. The violation of probation did not involve commission of another felony. The placement of a community rehabilitation center is recommended by the Division of Probation and Parole. The order of probation be revoked. In the event of revocation, the defendant shall serve the sentence suspended with or without credit for the time served on probation at the discretion of the court. Okay, wait, this is interesting because we have seen this many times where they ask about their time. Order that the probation be revoked. In the event of revocation, the defendant shall serve the sentence suspended with or without credit for the time served on probation at the discretion of the court. I always assumed that you simply did not get time served while you were waiting for your parole hearing, which is a big problem, because if someone's waiting 9 months and they only have 2 years left on their sentence and then they get revoked and they just lose that time. And we see oftentimes, many times, where at the end of a revocation hearing, they say, well, do I get time served? And the parole board always says, that's not up to us. We don't calculate time. So it's actually then up to the judge. But this seems like a bit of a problem because when does that judge ever say that they'll get time served? Do you get the problem here? So you get your, let's just, for those of you who are actually interested in watching this, you get your parole revoked. Now you take bad advice from your attorney, which we've seen happen many times. And you say, you know what, I'll just plead to a lesser charge. And then they plead to that lesser charge. They've now sat for maybe 3 months or something. They're backing 10 years, but they plead to the lesser charge. Bad advice, because now they get in front of the parole board. The parole board says, well, you violated the conditions of parole. You pleaded guilty, and that violates your parole. You're not allowed to be involved in any criminal activity, so you're revoked. And then they say, well, do I at least get time served? And we don't calculate time. But the judge already sentenced him to time, and he served that time. The judge would never have said you're going to get time served for your parole revocation, because the judge isn't thinking about the parole and the time he's backing. So I don't know how they could ever go retroactively to that judge and say, you know, you probably have to file motions to do that. And who has the money for that. So I have a feeling that a lot of people, simply because of the procedure of this and the order of how things occur, that they probably just don't get their time. If the imposition of sentence was suspended, the defendant shall serve the sentence imposed by the court at the revocation hearing. Notwithstanding the provision of subparagraph 5 of the paragraph, any defendant who's been placed on probation by the Drug Division probation program pursuant to and who has probation revoked under the provisions of the article of technical violation of Drug Division probation as a determination by the court may be ordered to be committed in the custody of the Department of Public Safety Corrections and be required to serve sentences of not more than 12 months without diminution of sentence in the intensive incarceration program pursuant to provisions upon successful completion of the program. The defendant shall return to active supervised probation with the Drug Division probation program for a period of time as ordered by the court, subject to any additional conditions imposed by the court, and under the same provision law under which the defendant was originally sentenced, if the offender is denied entry into the intensive incarceration program for physical or mental health reasons, or for failure to meet the department's suitability criteria, the department shall notify the sentencing court for sentencing in accordance with the provision of Article 881. Here's some, let's see, another, okay. Or of a sex offense has been determined that the court have been committed technical violations of his probation required to serve diminution of sentence as follows. For a first technical violation, not more than 15 days. For a second technical violation, not more than 30 days. For a third subsequent, not more than 50 days. I don't know who this is. For a fourth suspension, the court may order that the probation be revoked in accordance with the paragraph of this paragraph. What does this mean? So this is interesting. They're talking about technical violations of and how much punishment you can serve, and this is confusing to me. I guess a technical violation will be different than other violations. Allegation of criminal act that is subsequently proven to be a violation of protective order issued by the offender to protect a family member, a household member, or dating partner, being in possession of a firearm or a prohibited weapon, absconding from jurisdiction of the court, extend the period of probation provided by a total amount of time several defendants' probation for any one offense shall not exceed the maximum period of probation provided by law. When the defendant has been committed to the Community Rehabilitation Center pursuant to subparagraph of this article, upon written request of the department that the offender be removed for violating the rules and regulations, Community Rehabilitation Center, the court shall cause the defendant to be brought before it and order probation be revoked with the credit for time served in the Community Rehabilitation Center. Now here they say that you should get credit for time served in the community rehabilitation. Okay, this is interesting. So here, if you get sent to a community rehabilitation center and you are revoked, they will give you credit for time served. The department may be a per diem for offenses placed in the community rehabilitation center pursuant to the provisions. When the court considers revocation probation, the court shall consider aggravating mitigating circumstances of the court being All right. I hope this was interesting to some of you, but I think it helped clear up for me about how some of these cases work with time served. And really, I think it's a bit of a, to me, my assumption is that if a judge sentences you to some misdemeanor and then you get put up in front of the parole board and then you're revoked, I don't think the likelihood of you getting that time served against your, not time served, but that time against your sentence, I see the likelihood of that being incredibly small, if not even zero. And that's why we do, I think, see some people just revoke themselves. Like if you assume that, hey, you might sit in jail for 6 months to have your revocation hearing and you're only back in a year, it's like, they're just like, let me just start serving my time. And we have heard inmates say that's why they've done it. But with that, I'll let you go.